I suppose I'd say that it's actually to the student's advantage to have the two supervisors communicating a lot and working together. I mean, occasionally the disadvantage might be if actually they disagree quite radically and then the student has to negotiate between them. But it's probably easier, in fact, if they're both there and they can also tell amongst themselves that there are some questions. Have I had any disagreements with the co-supervisor? I don't think substantially. I mean, sometimes it goes into the good cop, bad cop thing where one of you tends to, or where one tends to take the broad view and one tends to be much more looking at specific details. I don't think I've had any serious disagreements. It can happen, I suppose.
I think that they both read the whole thing. And that, I would say, is one of the main advantages of having two supervisors, actually. It made me feel better knowing that two people had, given it the okay.
In my subject, philosophy, that would just mean the supervisors would argue with each other all the time. So it's better if the student has individual meetings with the different supervisors.
I don't think my topic was kind of strictly interdisciplinary, but it did involve Brazil and two authors from outside Brazil, from America and one from South Africa. But for that reason, I had to have more than one supervisor. I had to have actually 3 supervisors. Just once we felt I needed to meet 2 of the supervisors together, but otherwise it was very hard to arrange these meetings, so we decided it was fine to have separate meetings with them.
I only ever once met my supervisors together, and that was midway through the PhD, because starting off it was my secondary supervisor who started me off. We knew each other better, although it was less of his research area. It was more of my primary supervisor's research area. And then by the mid-phase of the PhD, really she took over. So we had one joint meeting and then moved on to my primary supervisor, who saw me through my second and my third years, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, it changed, I think, during the course of my thesis. I never really met them together. It might have been nice to meet them together, I think. Officially, my primary supervisor, who was my supervisor in French, he was very good at overseeing the kind of production of the thesis, making sure that I was sticking to a timetable and keeping to deadlines. But I used my supervisor in anthropology more to discuss the issues arising, and I think he was, because of the direction that my thesis took in the end, I think in some ways he was a more competent reader and commentator on the subject matter towards the end.
It can cause a problem if the student is trying to, as it were, please both supervisors. And I think this is something that supervisors need to be very sensitive to, particularly in those areas of disciplines where feelings run high and there are very strong feelings on either side. So I think that supervisors need to be very sensitive that they are not imposing their own strong opinions on the student, which can make their relationship with the other supervisor difficult.
I didn't find there was much of a conflict ever, although sometimes they would say different things, obviously. I always felt it was quite good to have more than one, because if one didn't like much, the other one would often like more, and so at the end I could keep my motivation going and, the high spirits going.